niggas? Right. It's the Team Redeye Shit Show, starring me, and also Corbin. And R2D2 is R2D2. You know, same joke I've made like 30 times. But today's going to be probably our most controversial shit show, I would imagine. Would you agree with that statement, Corbin?
Probably.
Yeah.
I literally ruined my relationship with my family over one of the subjects.
Really? All right. Well, we'll get into that, won't we?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the Team Redeye Shit Show. It's the first episode we're doing live, so if you want to participate in chat, you are welcome to. But it is going to get spicy, so just a warning. Do we want to start with the heroes thing, or do we want to start with something else?
Do we want to start with what?
The false heroes, which is one of our topics today, or do we want to start with abortion, or do we want to start with something else?
Which false hero would you want to start with?
Let's start with Anne Sullivan, since you've done a video on her before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Anne Sullivan, bullshit. Total piece of shit person. Helen Keller, complete fabrication.
Yeah.
It was basically a socialist bitch pretending she could talk to a blind and deaf girl to spread socialism. And conveniently, the books Helen Keller was supposedly writing were written in the exact same way Anne Sullivan wrote. And conveniently, she stopped writing coincidentally after Anne Sullivan died.
Yeah. It's one of those, it literally doesn't make sense. Like the idea that somebody who's been blind and deaf since they were a baby, the ability, it would be impossible for them to understand politics. It would be impossible.
Yeah,
no way they could possibly understand.
Makes no fucking sense. And like, you did the video on it before it was cool. Now Crowder's been calling it out, and a few other people have, which is great. But you did it before it was cool.
Mm-hmm. I have my finger on the pulse.
Oh yeah, Corbin is a master of current events. I mean, it's not really current events because it was like forever ago, but still.
I thought it was stupid when I learned about it in school because it just didn't make sense. How could a person who was blind and deaf since they were a baby be able to do any of the things they say that she did?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I always thought it was dumb.
They say like the way that she taught her was that she put her hand on she put Helen Keller's hand on Anne Sullivan's mouth, taught her how to move her mouth and like use the vocals on her throat or whatever. But that's never worked for any other person who's been blind and deaf since they were a baby ever in the history of ever.
Yeah.
It never happened to anyone else.
Should I mention the other thing we said about Helen Keller, that like when we were speculating things that might have actually happened?
You want to.
So my theory is that Anne Sullivan was probably abusive as fuck to Helen Keller, probably both sexually and physically, because she probably got some sort of sick power trip out of it, because she was using her as a meat puppet to get her message across. So I think she probably had all sorts of horrible things done to her by Anne Sullivan, and no one would know because what's she gonna do? Tell someone?
Also, I think it's just believable because even back then there was like all the weird sexual ties between like involved in leftism. I think.
Yeah.
Like there was still like that weird. I don't know how to explain it. Like they want to like cross every sexual boundary.
Yeah. Well, as I've said, progressivism is literally just trying to change norms because there are norms and no other reason than that, which I think is just
make the
stupid.
Good bad and the bad good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, for the visuals, I went with your picture you drew of me and my picture that I drew for your channel icon, the Cthulhu thing.
Oh, well, at least if it's like that, it's me and you talking to each other.
Yeah, but I put it over the We'll Be Right Back screen, so it's still got Sands and Dr. Pepper in the background, but it's fine.
I love that Sands and Dr. Pepper and Tito Dick.
Yeah, they're synonymous with my channel now. But yeah, no, how about we balance it out? How about we go to a false villain now? We'll go back and forth.
Sure.
Do we want to start with Michael Jackson, or who else was there?
Bill Cosby.
Okay, let's start with Michael Jackson, because that's the one I think... Oh, and Charles Manson, I think, was another one for you, right?
Yeah, Charles Manson.
Let's do Michael Jackson. That's the one I'm most passionate about out of the bunch.
Yeah, the documentary Leaving Neverland is literally stupid because everything was already disputed before the documentary even came out. Literally every point they made was already disputed before the documentary came out.
Yeah, and like they also like in the documentary they literally say that one of the people who said they weren't a victim was a victim, and he literally brought it up and they said we're talking about you, not to you.
Yeah.
So it's like the
so
fuck.
It's literally like that would be insulting somebody that you think is a victim, so it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, like Michael Jackson, he was an off man. Like I'll say that. He was a strange guy.
Yeah, but he's like got like this weird like where he wants to give people the childhood he never had and all that stuff. I know that people say that all the time, but I mean it's true.
Yeah, like well the thing is Michael Jackson didn't have a good childhood. He was thrown into being a celebrity.
He wanted kids to not have to experience the molestation he had to go through as a child.
Yeah, like because he went through abuse. He went through being in the limelight at a very young age, which is not healthy. And because his dad treated him like shit. Let's not forget about that time you said no to Five Nights at Freddy's. But yeah, as I said earlier, Andy, Five Nights at Freddy's I don't like. I don't like most modern horror games. But anyway,
I think it was fine just for the basic game it was until it became popular.
I think it's boring and stupid.
Because I mean, well, to be fair, like as just one game, and the point of the game is to not get jump scared.
Yeah, but you're literally just pushing buttons in a chair, which I think is the least entertaining gameplay I've ever seen.
It takes a level of strategy, though. Like, why do you play strategy games?
I just don't get the appeal, man. I don't find the animatronics scary.
I just think it's a basic. Well, yeah, I think it's still like who was doing animatronic horror before Five Nights at Freddy's?
I mean, I'm sure it's been done before with like Chuck E. Cheese, like creepypastas and stuff.
Yeah, but not like that. Like I'm just saying, like it made it like a thing, and
okay.
I mean, like it's not just like horrible. It's just a game.
But anyway, back to Michael Jackson. Like his dad, because his dad was so abusive to him, Michael Jackson, the reason he had all those surgeries on his face was because he didn't want to look at his dad in the mirror. He didn't want to look anything like his dad. So that's why he had like the nose job and the cheek implants and all the other things he had done. And he also did have vitiligo, which, made his skin get blotchy and start turning white. And like people say, oh, he bleached his skin. I think he might have evened it out to fix it because he had a bunch of patches. But I think that's the most he did.
Yeah, I don't think he literally bleached his skin.
Yeah, no.
That sounds like that's like making him out to be a complete insane person.
Yeah, like, but if you actually look at like pictures of Michael Jackson throughout time, you'll notice he gets lighter and lighter as he gets older.
Yeah. Because
he had vitiligo.
Yeah.
Just a particularly bad case of it.
And well, I mean, it's really sad though because the whole Michael Jackson thinks it's kicking a man who can't even defend himself and is already dead, and it's insane to make these accusations about somebody who already had all these accusations disproven when he was alive.
Yeah, well, and
like he doesn't need to go through it again.
And like
he's dead.
The thing is, they tried to bring up like they said, oh, well, they found this evidence back in like one of the, like 2005 or 2003 or something. But it's like, okay, then why didn't they use that in trial? They were desperate to find any evidence. They literally had a Hustler magazine that only had his fingerprints on it because they handed it to him and tried to use that against him, which, even if it was his Hustler magazine, wouldn't prove shit.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if they had all this evidence against him in 2003, that would have come up in the 2005 trial. Not to mention, like, one of the kids that was, like, famous to be, like, one of his quote-unquote victims, first off, said he wasn't a victim, and it was his dad that was trying to get the money from Michael Jackson for it. That's why he settled. And the thing is, people try to use, oh, he settled as an excuse, but he just wanted to get it over with, and in fact, he was settling it probably to help himself with the what's it called? The criminal trial, because the civil trial that he did wasn't supposed to affect the criminal trial. And they were basically just bringing back the same cases in the 2005 trial that were in the 93 trial. Like, it's the same thing. And, like, people try to act like it was a bunch of different stuff. And, like, there were people that were desperate to try and find evidence. That's why I think, like Razor Fist has done really good videos in depth about Michael Jackson and, like, rebutting it. And obviously
also, I think it's interesting, the two child actors who have come out about, because Macaulay Culkin and, what's the other kid's name?
Corey Feldman.
That was in, Corey Feldman, where they're both been honest and open about, like, bad stuff they went through as child actors. Neither of them have ever brought up Michael Jackson as something bad that's happened in their childhoods.
And, like, Corey Feldman is known for outing people who sexually abused him. That's, like, what he did. Like, that's what he's known for now.
I think Macaulay Culkin did, too.
Yeah, but, like, Corey Feldman, that's, like, the main thing he's known for now.
Yeah. And he said Michael Jackson was good, so...
Yeah, he said Michael Jackson never did any of that. So yeah, I think when people think Michael Jackson, when they just believe that blindly because they quote-unquote saw the documentary, fuck you.
Yeah, the documentary was stuff that was already, like, it's literally just taking a bunch of random stuff that was already disproven from, like, the old trial and like, old stuff from the news that was already proven.
Yeah.
Like, you can even watch, like, like, anybody who's watching this, like, you can look at Razor Fist's video. He's gone over, like, all of Leaving Neverland and shown how it's just taking stuff that was already disproven from the past and just reselling it to a new audience that hasn't seen any of that stuff.
Yeah. Which, I would recommend people watch that video. Razor Fist, he made really good videos on Michael Jackson.
And John Doyle's video on Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, also a great video. Is that how we want to segue?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Martin Luther King Jr. There's a national holiday made after him. It's the only person in the U.S. that has ever had an actual federal holiday named after him. Like, Washington kind of did for a while, but then it became President's Day. But, point is, Martin Luther King Jr. Now, I will preface this by saying, some of the things accomplished through Martin Luther King Jr. were good. For instance, ending segregation. But he can't take credit for all of that, because the civil rights movement was much larger than him. But Martin Luther King Jr. was... People try to say that he, like...
I'm more of a Malcolm X guy.
Malcolm X was at least honest. And Malcolm X changed his ways before he died. You know that, right?
Yeah, I don't think he was ever, like... I think he was... Wasn't he always speaking of self-defense, though? Or was he not like that in the beginning?
He was, but, like, he actually, like...
context I've seen of him was...
Yeah, no, but he was, like... But he also did hate white people.
Yeah.
But
I know, like, he wanted to separate... He even wanted separation.
Yeah, but he changed his ways before he died. Like, he came to terms with all that and, like, renounced all of that.
Yeah, I just like that he believed in, like, setting something up for yourself. Like, if the world is against you, do it yourself, you know?
But yeah, as I was saying...
if nobody else will help you, you gotta pick yourself up.
Right. But yeah, as I was saying, Martin Luther King, some of the things that were accomplished in part because of him are very good, like ending segregation and whatnot. That said, that was not his main goal.
Martyr complex.
He did have a martyr complex, and the only reason he's remembered is because he was a martyr. There were plenty of other people that were just as prominent as him, if not more so.
I don't like celebrities that encourage that whole martyr mentality.
Yeah.
In general.
But, like,
I don't like that's people's standard of goodness is self-sacrifice.
Yeah. But the main thing Martin Luther King was trying to do with the civil rights movement was push socialism. That was his main goal. I don't think it was late in life. I think it was the whole time. Yeah, no, and it was absolutely the whole time. And a lot of the things he said, he didn't practice what he preached. Because when he gave speeches, he encouraged peaceful protests, but he also encouraged riots, which is something that people on the right like to overlook, because people on the right like to use Martin Luther King as an example to say, look, you're not following what he believed, but it's like, neither did he.
Yeah, like, he wasn't even really Christian. If you go back and read, like, his old, what he wrote about Jesus, he wrote that he didn't even believe that Jesus was actually the Son of God, but actually just somebody who died for religious beliefs, and that he didn't actually believe that the Bible was true, so he's not really a Christian even.
Yeah, Well, they wanted him to be a reverend, quote unquote, so that it would like give him a sense of credibility because people trusted reverends.
Because that he wanted, and that's what got him to appeal heavily to conservatives.
Yeah. But he also now I've heard different things on this. Was he the one who raped the chick, or did he just watch someone rape the chick?
He watched someone.
Yeah, and he did nothing about it. He thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And like,
it was,
he cheated on his wife a lot too, and went to a lot of orgies. I'm pretty sure he did drugs.
And people that say he didn't become like communist until he was old or something, and later on in life, but there's pictures of him in like I don't remember if it's like a communist camp or school or something. Back, like there's pictures with him in like I can't remember what. Like it's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For communists.
Yeah. Another thing is like he started an organization, like, or maybe he didn't actually start it, but it's typically referred to as his organization because he was a part of it, and like it like tried to make him like their mascot. And there was this lady. I remember I saw the video because it was in John Doyle's video. This lady was like, there was this chick that like murdered her boss. And like the group, the Martin Luther King group, I can't remember what it was called. Was it the SPLC or was it something else? I can't remember. Point is, it was a group that was heavily associated with Martin Luther King Jr. Said that she wasn't responsible for killing her boss. Yeah. It was his fault because of racism.
Yeah.
When she literally just killed her boss because she didn't think she was getting paid enough.
Yeah. But it's that's really what the problem I have with a big problem with like the idea of systemic racism is it doesn't make sense because it's like saying that racism because they say specifically like whiteness and that black people can't be racist because they don't benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they say it's,
and
power. They say it's a power dynamic.
They completely ignore that black people have owned white people in the past.
Well, and the first people to sell slaves to the whites were blacks.
Yeah.
And the first slave owner in the U.S. was a black man.
Mm-hmm. So it's
and not to mention, did you know that currently...
It was never about, like...
Go ahead.
What is it?
Okay, I guess
I was just gonna say, like, it's not... like, slavery in itself doesn't, like, they act like slavery is racist, but it's... Like, slavery's bad, but it's not racist in itself, because slavery's just, I want work done, I'm gonna force somebody else to do it.
Now, granted, the way slavery was practiced in the U.S. was racist. Because it was
Racism was just the way we defended it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, like, the point. The point was we wanted work to be done.
Sure, I'm just saying that there definitely was racism.
I wasn't there, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I would hope not. But no, I mean, there was obviously a racial element to it. Whether it was used simply as justification or it was a component, there was definitely a racial element to it.
Yeah. But I would say it became a result of the slavery, not the other way around.
I mean, that's certainly possible, but I'm not going to discredit that slavery was practiced in a very racist way.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, even if there was no racism aspect, we still would have kept them as slaves because we still wouldn't want to be doing work. We would rather somebody else do it for us.
Right.
As in, like, people in general. I'm not actually saying that I would.
Yeah, I would hope. But one other thing that, gets overlooked a lot is, did you know that there are more slaves in the world right now than there ever have been?
Yeah.
Because human trafficking is a big thing, both for sexual and for labor purposes.
Do you think they're mostly white people or black people or what race?
I'd have to look at statistics, but I think it's pretty mixed.
If it's white people, I want to be accommodated.
Yeah, there you go. Get your reparations, damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, one key difference I will admit though is it was the government doing slavery back then, whereas it's not now. or the government at least endorsed it. Like, it was private owners that did have slaves, but the government did endorse it at the time, at least tolerated it. Although there is a lot of myths behind that, because a lot of the founding...
Biden's got slaves.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. But the thing is like, with like the founding fathers, a lot of people say, well, a lot of them had slaves, but it's like, they also, like, detested slavery. It was something that they considered like a necessary evil of the time, which I still think is wrong.
It's better to keep slaves in a safe environment than to let them be owned by somebody else who will abuse them.
Well, that too, but that's not what I was getting at. I was saying that a lot of the founding fathers didn't like slavery.
I'm just saying, if they're going to be slaves anyway, they should be slaves to somebody who's going to keep them in a less harsh environment.
I mean, I get where you're coming from that. I think that is a dangerous mindset, though, because that could easily... You know what I mean?
It doesn't even apply to now.
No, I'm just saying... I know that. I'm just saying, people having that thought, that is also kind of a dangerous mindset, too. Because that just makes it easier to have slavery still exist.
Yeah, but I was just saying...
No, I get what you're saying, and I do agree in principle. I'm just saying that mindset could have easily contributed to the problem.
Let's just say, like, if there is slavery right now, is it better to... and you know that you could save a slave from being abused by owning it, and you don't own it, you're responsible for that slave being abused, aren't you?
Yeah, I would say in that scenario, yeah.
Because it's like, I just mean, like, in that time period, that's how a lot of people actually were. They kept slaves because they wanted to protect them.
I mean, I'm sure there were people who did that. I don't have any statistics on that, but I'm sure that happened.
Well, yeah.
But you know, all the most of the founding fathers also freed all their slaves when they died.
I'm just saying, like, the idea that everybody was a racist back then, and was just...
Yeah, no, I think that people did things for different reasons. But yeah, also...
I mean, the people that protect slaves don't get really brought up ever either.
Alright, should we go back to another false villain, or should we do another false hero? Because I just thought of one with all of what we were talking about.
What would you think of?
Karl Marx, because he's a hero on the left.
I honestly don't know a lot about Karl Marx.
Karl Marx is a piece of shit. He is one of the biggest pieces of shit in history. Because, you know, he wrote the Communist Manifesto, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, the thing is that people, like, if you don't know, Karl Marx is one of the most racist people that has ever existed. Some of the stuff he wrote back in those days were considered racist by people of the time. He considered blacks subhuman and often referred to them as niggers. All the time. And, like, was really, like, degrading about it. He was super against black people. He didn't like Jews. He was one of the most racist people to ever exist. And yet he's valued by the left. But, like, when the left looks at Karl Marx, they say, oh, but he was a product of his time. But they never give that same benefit of the doubt to anyone else. And it's like, no, he wasn't. He was actually considered incredibly racist even at the time.
Yeah.
Not to mention, he helped to popularize communism, which is just retarded and also dangerous and has killed over 100 million people, so, you know.
Whenever I see somebody who's, like, trying to defend communism and they actually, like, put up, like, the Russian communist flag, it's like one of those things where it's, at that point you can't even be arguing that you're not, like, an authoritarian person who wants to kill people.
Yeah, because Stalin killed more people than Hitler.
Because it doesn't even, and it's like, even, like, doing that ironically, it's, like, weird. It's like, if conservatives literally just did actually just, like, full-on embrace Hitler and just wore swastikas and it wouldn't even make sense, though, because they're not as connected as the left is to actual communism.
Oh, yeah, and again, Nazism is technically socialism, too. It's National Socialism.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what it means.
I just mean, like, literally what they're doing is what they think the conservatives do.
Yeah. Well, when you call...
Funny, though, is, like, everything they say about conservatives is actually an insult to themselves.
Yeah, it's what we call projection, Corbin. It's a big problem on the left. There's actually, like, a comment I remember that someone made on... I remember I did my video, I think it was on election day, about all that. And some of my regular viewers were, you know, basically showing that they were leftists and, like, complaining and bitching at me, right? And, like, somebody in the chat called them a Marxist, and they said, of course, what's wrong with being associated with Karl Marx? It's like, well, if you're saying that, then I don't think you know Karl Marx all that well, because there's a lot wrong with being associated with Karl Marx.
Did you actually explain that?
No, I gave up on trying to communicate with leftists a long time ago. I don't usually respond to leftists in my comments all that much, because it's like talking to a brick wall.
I think it's funny to just waste their time.
Well, so
because they're completely willing to just give up all of their time.
That's true, but you know my Rio videos, right?
Yeah.
For a while, I did try to respond to those comments, and then I gave up on it. But eventually, like just the other day, like a week or two ago, someone commented, "This video is transphobic." So I responded with a quote from Family Guy. I literally just said, "I'd be more apathetic if I wasn't so lethargic." But it's true, like, because you know what that would mean is I would have more energy to not give a shit if I wasn't so tired. Because I'm getting tired of, like, they always make the same argument as if they're, like, special and they're the first one to do it. Like, especially on the Rio video. Like, there's so many people that are just like, this video is transphobic. It's like, okay, like, I haven't heard that a billion fucking times.
And they don't even understand, like, they don't even understand. They think a hermaphrodite is a transgender. It doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, they like to lump them in together. And actual intersex people actually don't like being lumped in with trannies a lot of the time.
I wouldn't either. It'd be an insult.
Right? See, spiciest episode. But yeah, no, another false...
Because that's comparing somebody with an actual medical problem to somebody with a mental disability.
That's true. It's like in that episode of South Park where Randy's dad said, or not Randy's dad, Stan's dad says niggers on Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
And so, like, everyone, like, gets mad at him and starts, like, like persecuting him, and it's like a parallel to how black people were actually treated.
Yeah.
And, like, Token gets really mad at Stan because Stan's trying to understand it. But there's, like, that scene, don't worry, I'm going somewhere with this. But what Stan's like, he compares it to midgets, and Token's like, so you think black people are midgets? It's the same thing, Like, you think trannies are hermaphrodites? And vice versa?
Yeah. And then, also, when it was... The whole idea is stupid too, because they don't believe in souls. They say they believe in science. They don't even believe in souls. So I don't understand. Like, how could a man be in a woman's body?
Yeah.
There's no soul.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, well, and like the fact that they think that every personality trait is a gender. They think that personality is gender. They confuse the two. It's like, no, they're very different things. And so what?
I
Now,
don't know how you could even get that confused.
Like, are all tomboys trans guys now?
Why would your sexual preference determine the things you like and don't like?
Yeah, no, it makes no sense.
Regardless, but, like, people want to... People, like, honestly, I just think, like, the whole I think transgenderism and homosexuality and most of it, like 99% of the time is just people seeking attention.
I'd agree. I'd say the same thing with, like, especially, like, lesbians. There's so many fucking lesbians you see nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like it's artificially inflated. Like, there's just chicks that... Because, I mean, lesbians don't exist. I think we both know that. Because women experience sexuality different.
Yeah.
I don't think they're actually attracted to the opposite sex in that regard.
Yeah.
We've had that discussion before, I'm sure, but
the way I see it is, a woman can't get a woman pregnant, so I mean, it's not like it's going to be programmed into anybody's brain to have sex with the same sex. Like, it's not programmed into you. I've just, like, I can't even think of it as not a choice. Like, I can't anymore.
Well, again, I don't know what all the contributors are. And again, as I'm sure we both know, but just in case there's any whiny people who see this later, Neither of us think it's necessarily immoral to be homosexual. There's nothing wrong with it, like morally speaking.
I don't care. Like, I think you can do whatever you want with your own body. That's what I'm against abortion though, because it's not your own body.
Hey,
you know
perfect segue, Corbin.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad that Roe v. Wade is most likely going to be overturned, because it's bad law too. Because it was predicated on a part of the 14th Amendment that was twisted and turned to be something it's not, and it created a right that just simply doesn't exist.
It doesn't make sense, because your rights shouldn't trump somebody else's rights.
Yeah. Well, and like they're like, oh, my body, my choice, but it's like it's not your body. It's literally not.
And I'm sick of. I'm gonna talk about like my dad's girlfriend or whatever.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
So she was upset or whatever. She was posting a thing that literally said that that an abortion. With an abortion, it wouldn't even matter if it was a 5-year-old's life, because the point is the woman's convenience or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I disagreed with that, which seems not like in a very extreme view to disagree with that. I thought it was a pretty normal kind of stance to have, to not be for the murder of 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
But she got upset. And then she said something that didn't even make sense. She started defending it by saying that late-term abortions are for dead babies.
Which they're not.
Babies that are already dead.
Which, by definition, is not true.
That's not even abortion.
Yeah, that would be the removal of a stillbirth.
Yeah, and also it doesn't even make sense, because the Post said that it was for the woman's convenience, and that it wouldn't matter if it was a 5-year-old. So that defense doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then apparently, and she said that I was conspiratorial for thinking that people get late-term abortions and encourage late-term abortions for like the killings of actual babies, which is weird. She's accusing me of being conspiratorial when she literally posted something that was advocating for killing of babies.
Yeah. By the way, yeah, I don't know what's going on with your. Okay. Okay, you moving your mic there made the little like I heard what you said, but it did distort a little bit. But you're good now. When you were moving the mic.
Wait 1 second. You hear me fine?
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Okay. But she literally called me. She literally accused me of planning on insulting her. Which
is just retarded. If you wanted to insult her, you'd just insult her.
Yeah. Also, I thought it was so funny, because at the end she was like, "You're trying to make me look bad," and it's like, how can I make you look bad? Your stance was that it's okay to kill 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
How could I make you look bad? It doesn't make sense. Like, she doesn't think about. These people don't think about anything.
No. I got a comment from Andy. In 2022, James Rolfe did a VHS Memories and What Nostalgia Means to Me video, which felt like a love letter to physical media, despite him previously trashing physical media in the Blu-ray Sex video. Yeah, no, I saw that video. I thought it was pretty good. I watched that one. To be fair, he didn't say he hated physical media in the Blu-ray video. He just said that, like, streaming was better, which it only is in the case of convenience, and even then that wears off because streaming services lose stuff. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying, Andy.
I like old stuff.
I do too.
I think VHS is the perfect format for movies.
Well, I mean, there are issues with it. Like, the main thing is they do wear out over time. But then again, discs also rot, too, so...
I think the cheapness of it is a bonus, though, because they could just keep making them and keep making them and keep making them forever.
No, and they're fun, too. Like, there's a certain charm to the quality of VHS, too. Like, it's like the lower quality actually adds to the effect. Like, especially if it's like an old horror movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because it makes it look like...
Makes it grainy.
Makes it look more real by distorting it, kind of.
Yeah, like slasher movies, I feel like don't work unless they're like kind of grainy and lower quality.
Mm-hmm. If it's in too much detail, you can see the flaws.
Yeah.
Like Evil Dead, if you like watch the Blu-ray, it looks like worse.
Yeah, it does. That's why I have the DVD. Because the DVD is better than the Blu-ray in that case.
Yeah, I have the Evil Dead 2 DVD at least.
I have all of them on DVD.
Yeah, I have Evil Dead on. I have the first one on Blu-ray though, which sucks.
All right, do we want to keep talking spicy topics, or do we want to keep talking movies and stuff? Because I'm good either way.
You want to talk about Seth Rogen?
Yeah, we can talk about Seth Rogen. I hate Seth Rogen. One of my least favorite actors.
Yeah. He's, I would say, like, he's the worst actor.
He's up there. Point. He makes, like, the same, like, 6 jokes.
He's the Ethan Klein of comedians.
I absolutely agree.
But he's, I think it's funny, though, that the guy who's, like, famously known for, like, smoking weed is, like this, like child on Twitter. Like, he's just constantly antagonizing people on the internet with really stupid insults that don't make sense and are really bad.
Well, and, like, he had that really bad take when, like, Casey Neistat had his car broken into. Seth Rogen said, "That's called living in a big city. You should just deal with it." It's like, you're acting like this is normal and it's fine?
It's because he thinks stealing's okay. Because he's a socialist. He thinks theft is good.
That's true. And, like, all of his jokes are like, sex!
Yeah, literally Sausage Party. The moral of the movie Sausage Party is, there is no God, let's all have sex.
Yeah. And also,
that's
like...
literally the whole lesson.
He's also like, you know, weed! They're using their sexuality as a weapon!
That's my favorite. That's my favorite Seth Rogen line now.
It's so bad.
They're using their sexuality as a weapon.
They're using their sexuality as a weapon. And his laugh is just so painfully, like, obnoxious too.
Yeah. He literally made a movie where he's married to the first, where he's in a relationship with the first female president.
That's so bad. So
he's such a sad person.
He's a sad, strange little man, and he has my pity. Except he's not even worth pity.
Yeah,
he's not even worth it. Not worth it.
Not worth it. I thought it was funny, though, that he bragged to, like, this one guy where he was like, "I've been a socialist since I was a kid." It's like, and the guy's like, "Yeah, most kids grow out of it."
It's true. Look, everyone goes through a faggy socialist phase when they're a teenager. Everybody.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was because I didn't even understand what it actually meant.
Exactly, because
as a teenager you don't get it. You don't get what it
you're emotionally manipulated because you want to help people.
Yeah, you think of it a lot more simplistically.
Yeah, but it's a phase, and you should. If you're a mature adult, you grow out of it.
Because you realize it's literally impossible, and it's never worked ever in history ever.
Yeah.
Like it just blows my mind that people can defend something that's literally never worked and never will.
Yeah.
And it's also sad because we have something that literally did work, that made rockets and cars, and we got to space, we made cool drugs, we made TVs. I mean, capitalism's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't understand the complaint exactly. It's brought us all this cool stuff, and then people are like, "Oh, you don't want a government, but you want to worship these corporations." It's like, at least these corporations give me something. The government gives me literally nothing.
Well, yeah, and, like, the thing is the whole point of capitalism is if you don't like a corporation, you don't buy their shit, and, like, if enough people don't like them, they don't do well.
You vote with your money.
Exactly.
The way it should be.
It should be that way, yeah.
But people demonize literally the only thing, literally the number one thing we need to survive, we demonize.
Yeah. Well, it's like people also don't like competition. They don't like people being better than others at things. It's just why? That's nature.
Also, I think it's weird when people say, like, capitalism and Christianity have this big connection. It's like, literally, Christianity would be, literally doesn't work with capitalism because because the Bible is anti-money.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there are a lot of Christians that are capitalists, but I do think that...
but what I'm saying is the whole thing about, like...
The two ideologies are not cohesive.
Yeah, like, they don't actually work. Like, it's... A person can believe in two contradicting ideas, but they're still contradicting.
Right, well, I don't think that Christianity necessarily, like... I guess it depends on the kind of Christianity, but yeah, like, the whole point of Christianity is helping people and, like, caring for the needy and stuff like that.
But that's what's led... Christianity is what's, I think, has actually caused... I think actually inspired the left, I think, more than it has the right. Because the left is the ones that they take the martyr complex from Jesus, and they take because they're a product of our overly Christian American past.
I mean,
they've gotten their martyr complex from Jesus, and then they've got their hatred for money from the Bible.
I mean, I do certainly think that's part of it, but I do think also, like, the left also despises Christianity too. Because they want to remove... Because here's the thing. Christianity was...
I know they hate Christianity. I'm saying that they're hypocrites because they don't acknowledge that a lot of their ideology was inspired by Christianity.
Well, yeah, I was about to say that most of our Western values come from Christianity, and I think that's important to notice. And I think that's overall... Christianity overall was a good thing in creating...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that their morals are inspired by Christianity, but contorting it to, like, this weird, butchered, disgusting thing.
Yeah. But a lot of our things we recognize as moral and immoral, it
literally took all the worst lessons of the Bible.
Yeah. Whereas I think the right, for the most part, takes the better ones. Yeah, exactly. Do we
what do you want to talk about now?
Well, I was going to say we didn't get to Bill Cosby. Do you want to do him?
Sure. I actually don't have as much to say about Bill Cosby, but we can talk about Bill Cosby.
Yeah, we'll knock it out of the way.
Because it's like all I can say is there's no evidence, so it shouldn't have been a thing in the first place.
And it was the legally correct move to exonerate him, whether or not he did it, which he very well might have. I don't know whether or not Bill Cosby is guilty.
I don't think we should be allowed to just take anybody to court that we want anymore.
I agree. I think we're an overly litigious society.
There's just so many people, and we can just waste each other's time forever.
Yeah.
Like, it's all just to waste each other's time, and it's pointless.
But, like, in order to get a statement that even incriminated Bill Cosby at all, they had to violate his Fifth Amendment rights. So it is a good thing he got off on that.
I think there can only be a trial if evidence is found first at this point.
Right, and I do think that our fundamental human rights can't be violated. And that's why it's good that he was released.
And it's definitely guilty till proven innocent in America.
Yeah, which it absolutely should not be. Because it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't get that benefit of the doubt.
The whole believe women thing. Also, I'm really glad that what's going on with
Johnny Depp
is happening, where he's fighting back, and I hope Elon Musk keeps fighting back against his exaggerations.
Yeah, there you go. Although again, Elon Musk is a weird one to bring up, especially when you bring up Johnny Depp, because again, Elon Musk was kind of weird with the Amber Heard thing.
I know. I'm just saying, like, they're both fighting against accusations.
Sure, yeah. But the thing is like, with Johnny Depp too, I do like that basically everyone is on his side.
Yeah.
Nobody is on the side of Amber Turd.
Also, we haven't heard a lot of what Elon Musk has had to say about the situation to really say.
Yeah, other than early on when he was initially supportive of her and paying some of her legal fees and whatnot.
Yeah, he was. I guess that is bad.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like,
I don't know. Maybe his opinion's changed. That's also possible.
I mean, like, he hasn't said anything about it. You think he would if he was...
Or maybe he's avoiding saying something about it because he knows it would get people to turn on him. Like, I mean, that's just me being cynical, but that could be true.
Could be, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic about things.
I know you are. And I'm being the doom and gloom one to try and crush all your hopes and dreams.
But I actually do feel pretty optimistic about the future, because it does feel like at least things are turning in a good direction, public-wise.
Yeah, I definitely think there have been a lot of positive things that have happened recently, like the upcoming, most likely overturning of Roe v. Wade.
I think there's going to be a big conservative culture,
which I think is absolutely necessary to counterbalance the way things have been.
Yeah.
And again, I agree with conservative values a lot more than I do leftist values, even though there are some conservative values I disagree with.
To me, at this point, being conservative is just being a normal person.
Yeah. Well, especially with the way that conservative has been redefined to be anyone to the right of Stalin.
Yeah. It's become one of those things where it's just I just want a return to everything not being insane.
Yeah. And I think that's all most people want. That's why so many people have left the left.
Yeah.
Because the left is disgusting now. Like, it used to kind of stand for something.
It's exhausting.
Like, I remember when it was the right. Like, back in the day, there were issues with the right. Like, when they were trying to censor movies and video games, and they were being overly, like, moral. Like the moral panic. That was a problem.
The left today is what conservatives used to be, but actually worse.
Yes. In all honesty, I would take moral panic over what we have now any day of the week.
Yeah, I'd rather. I'd rather, like. It's so hard because it's like I like the violence in the games, but the Christian. I guess that was more of a. I don't want to say conservatives exactly. It's more of a Christian thing, really.
Yeah, but they can.
Against, like, the violence in video games and all of that.
Yeah, but again, I would take that over what we got now.
Yeah.
And the thing is there is still elements of the right that are like that. There are still Christian elements of the right that do want to do away with things. But I also like that
there is this part of the right that's like for the offensiveness.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is I do like a lot of the Christians on the right too. Like, I love Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is great.
Yeah.
I just disagree with him when it comes to extreme content.
I don't like when they want to actually force me to like that. I don't like when it becomes like an issue of I don't like where they want to ban pornography, or they want to I don't know, stuff like that. They used to be like really weird with like I don't know. I think they used to be like really like against like all forms of drug use completely, but now they're like more lenient on certain things.
I know that like Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh are still against drug use.
Yeah. But there are definitely a lot more now that aren't.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, I still like a lot of the Christian part of the right. I just disagree with them. But the thing is the parts on the right you disagree with, you can disagree with, and they'll be like, oh, that's cool, great, let's talk about, like, they'll accept that you disagree and still value you as a person.
In fact, they like having these conversations.
Yeah.
While the left just gets angry and miserable about everything because they have such a negative, hateful mindset, and then they get mad at everyone else because they think everyone else is hateful. Like, it's all self-projection.
Yeah.
They think everyone's like them, actually, on the inside, and that we're all lying.
Well, do you know why the term homophobic exists?
Because they want to make it seem like anybody who disagrees with them is like scared. So
yeah, partially yes, but there's a reason they call it homophobic and not anti-gay. And the reason is,
why is it?
They believe that everyone is secretly gay on the inside, and if you're come out as anti-gay, you're afraid of that gay part of yourself.
That's funny.
Yeah. Same thing with transphobic. That's what they think, is they think that everyone is a little gay and a little trans.
I don't think everybody's a little trans, but I think, like, we're gay in the same way monkeys are gay, in that they just like the sexual convenience of it, and that's it.
Corbin confirmed gay for convenience?
I'm just saying that monkeys do it for convenience.
Yeah.
And that it's not like monkeys are just like there are monkeys that are just like, ugh, women monkeys, disgusting.
Right? They're not like, ew. Oh, did you want to get to Charles Manson?
Oh yeah. Another case that doesn't have evidence. You shouldn't have been in jail for life because you need evidence. That's just true. Period. Like,
yeah.
You need evidence. I hate that anybody gets a. I like you said before. You know how you said you'd rather
100 guilty men walk free than one innocent man be locked up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a Benjamin Franklin quote. But yeah, I've said that before too.
Yeah, that's a good quote.
Yeah.
Because I agree with that. Like it's better for the innocent to be not punished for no reason.
Yeah.
Than for all of the guilty to be punished.
Agreed. But I know with Charles Manson, you said that like Helter Skelter was mostly a myth that he didn't actually agree with.
Yeah, he never said that Helter Skelter was real. He's always been against that theory. That people say like, oh, it was about like a race war or whatever. Like Charles Manson's never said anything about a race war. You'd think if he wanted it so bad, he would have like mentioned it in the billions of interviews he's done.
Right.
Like you'd think that if he wanted a race war, he actually would have like encouraged a race war.
Right, but like he was still the leader of the Manson family, I assume, right? Like, because I do know like that was one that you weren't too sure on when we talked about it last time.
Yeah, he's not the.
Because it's called the Manson family, and he literally released an album called.
That's not what he called it. He wasn't going around calling it.
But the thing is he did release. Family. But he did though, because as a group, he released an album called the Manson Family Album.
As a music group, yeah.
Okay. So that's the distinction.
Like it's just like as like a. That's all he did was he was involved with the music. There's no evidence of him doing literally anything else with them other than playing some music.
Right, and like I said, I'm not as familiar.
And all of the songs, literally, like if you listen to songs, they're literally about peace.
Yeah, as I said, I've never been as familiar with Charles Manson as you are, but that's one thing I really like about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. How Tarantino like implies like because Tarantino thinks Manson's innocent too. And that's why I really like the ending to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like that one scene where Tex is like telling him what Charlie said to do, and they're like, "Did Charlie really say that?" And he's like, "Either Charlie said that, or I'm a liar." Good shit.
And who was it that was president at the
time? Was it Nixon?
It might have been Nixon, but. The president said he was guilty before he even had a trial.
Yeah. When was he convicted? Let's see. Let's see. 69, 71.
The people that were actually proven to kill people, like the ones that actually commit murder, got more lenient sentences than Charles Manson.
Yeah, it was Nixon.
It's stupid that the people who actually do it are seen as victims.
Yeah.
The people that actually go through with killing someone and ending someone's life, they make the choice to kill someone.
They're seen as victims because supposedly Charles Manson told them to.
It's so stupid because it's like people like Charles Manson. He gets into your head, man. He makes you think things. He makes you like why would you let somebody? How could somebody convince you that it's okay to murder somebody and like be like the
in cold blood, no less?
I don't believe that people can just be like turned into murderers just because some guy's like, hey, you know, it would be pretty cool if you did this for me. I'm pretty charismatic.
I don't know, Corbin. We'll see.
Clearly, they were psychos in the first place.
When I get you to kill a bunch of people for me, you'll change your tune.
But I just think it's also stupid. Like his story's never changed. He's always said the same things.
Uh-huh.
And
I recommend people listen to the interviews, but don't listen to them as if he's actually like murdered people. Listen to them as if you're new to it. You don't know.
Yeah.
And I think like in me listening to it that way, I find that I actually feel bad for him, because it's like he's trying to explain, like people get into his face and they antagonize him, call him a murderer and stuff like that, and he just has to say like, I'm not a murderer, I never killed anyone, and it just trying to explain that he's literally not done anything, and people don't care, and they just get mad at him and get defensive and yell at him and whatever, and they think they're justified because it's Charles Manson.
Yeah.
And I think it's sad that he has to, because it's sad that he has to spend his entire life in prison for something that didn't have evidence.
Right. How about we talk about the inverse now? How about OJ? What'd you think of OJ?
I like Norm Macdonald's jokes about him.
Oh yeah. No, those jokes are great. I think OJ is one of the biggest pieces of shit there ever was, because he literally got him away with murder and then wrote a book bragging about it.
Yeah.
Like, the book is literally called If I Did It, describing how he did it.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. And like,
it's literally like he's taunting you.
Yeah.
Like he's taunting everyone.
And like, he did this interview where he like admitted to it all, but like he was doing it.
It's kind of like a playfully evil thing to do.
Yeah, but like he did an interview admitting to the whole thing, right? Where he's up there and he's like, he's saying, "Oh, this is all a hypothetical situation. Well, I would have done this, then I would have done this." But then like halfway through, he forgets that he's supposed to be saying a hypothetical. So he's like, "And then I did this, and then I did this."
It's funny.
Yeah, and OJ's also like super judgmental of people and like tries to like virtue signal on Twitter too. So it's like really funny coming from a guy who murdered 2 people and got away with it.
Mm-hmm. That's weird. It's people like OJ get to walk free, but Charles Manson and Bill Cosby.
Well, Bill Cosby does walk free now.
Yeah, but that's not gonna take back the time he had to spend in
It's true.
jail. Which sucks too, because he's in like his old age. He's like an old man in jail. It's sad.
Yeah.
Or he was. He has like 2 milky eyes. Like.
Did you see that one day when he was going into court and like the reporter walked up to him and he went, "Hey, hey, hey."
Yeah.
But yeah, because of like the Believe Women and the Me Too movement, whenever I hear about allegations, do you know what my first thought is?
What?
I don't care.
Yeah. I literally can't believe them anymore, because you've seen like 20, you've seen them all.
Yeah.
Like, it's like how many, it's like at some point it's like, okay, so everybody's a rapist.
I mean, look, Hollywood is filled with all sorts of crazy shit like that. Like Hollywood, bunch of sexual misconduct, but
I don't believe that literally every single celebrity is a rapist.
No, I that's right, I agree. I'm just saying, like, we already know Hollywood is filled with all sorts of sexual deviancy. These guys are just people you're using as scapegoats because you're all doing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like with Seth Rogen betraying James Franco, like it's not gonna be like he's not gonna be accused of sexual assault in 10 years.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be. You know.
But yeah, at some point, and that's what sucks. That's what's stupid about these people, is that they're delaying the inevitable. They act like they're not going to be victims to their own mentality in the future, like to their own group.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to be victims to it at some point. With that, but everybody's bad according to that ideology. Everyone's evil.
Yeah. Well, and like if you're a white man and you're a leftist, you're just waiting for trouble. Especially if you're straight.
It's literally siding with the people that literally hate you.
Yeah. There's no logic behind it.
And that's I think even said that earlier, didn't I? That because I think I said before that the left's not even They believe that everyone's gay.
Yeah.
Before you even said it, I said it, I think.
I don't remember. You might have.
But like, they think like that's why that they
Your brain short circuit, Corbin?
I know it never happens. But that's why they don't. Never mind.
That's why they don't. Never mind. I agree.
I lost it.
Soiled it. Soiled it. Soiled it. Soiled it.
What do you think of?
I think it's pretty gay.
Yeah, I agree.
See. Let me check my notes, see if there's anything else we were supposed to talk about. Because since I'm going to look back at the old messages, yeah, see? Because I know we were talking about doing this shit show for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's an idea. So I know you're in like a lot of fan groups and stuff on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And like you'll be in a fan group, and then people will just start saying things that either don't make sense, don't fit with the fan group it belongs in, or just have nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, people in the Vice City group were posting guns to make anti-gun people angry.
Yeah. But they would make it like loosely Vice City related by making like a Vice City joke.
Yeah, there you go.
The picture or something. And then, but I thought it was funny because it just literally just doing it to make people mad. And the majority of the people in the group were cool with it.
Yeah. And like, also, didn't you run into like a lot of like commies and like Steve Ditko groups, and it didn't make any sense?
Yeah, they're like fans of his art, but they don't like his but they hate him as a human being. And it's like, why would you call yourself a fan of somebody that you hate?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I like Watchmen, but I don't like Alan Moore.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna say I'm a big fan of Alan Moore. Like I'd say I'm a big fan of Watchmen specifically, or a big fan.
Let me put it another way. I like Stephen King's books, but I don't like Stephen King.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you mean, but like it's stupid to be a part of that fan group though, because it's literally.
Well, but the thing is didn't Ditko put his ideology in his work a lot?
Yeah, it was like most of what he did was political.
What I don't get is like the leftists.
Also, I think you'd like Steve Ditko's comics because it promotes like lots of libertarian stuff.
You mean right libertarian?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said left libertarian, so I was a little confused.
I didn't say left libertarian, so it promotes a lot of libertarian stuff.
Oh, okay, I misheard. Yeah, like, I also don't get how, like, a lot of leftists are, like, fans of Ayn Rand, where it's, like, a lot of the things she said are antithetical to the things they say.
Yeah, like, my dad literally said that he thinks Ayn Rand would be a capitalist today.
You mean a communist, because she is a capitalist.
I mean socialist, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
My dad said he thought Ayn Rand... I get confused with my words. I'm a special boy.
Yeah, because she's like, capitalism is like the biggest thing to her.
Yeah, he said that he thinks she would be socialist and that she was a when you do nice things for other people, what's that called?
Altruist.
For no reason.
Yeah, altruist.
Altruistic, yes.
Yeah, which altruism was the thing she hated the most.
Yeah. So my dad thinks that she's a socialist and an altruist.
Which are the two things that she hates the most.
Yeah.
Your dad's a strange person. Or he's just in denial because he likes her work and wants to, like, imagine she thinks like he does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, because even, like, I like, though, that on the Ayn Rand fan group, I mean, not Ayn Rand fan pages, like, when people comment, though, they'll be like people will be fans of Ayn Rand but be against abortion even though Ayn Rand is for abortion, and I like that the people can see through that.
Yeah, like me, because I like Ayn Rand, but I despise abortion. It's one of the most evil things.
It's like one of those things where it's like if you actually believe in the principles of objectivism, you literally can't be for abortion. It's literally one of those times where she's literally against her own ideology.
Right, and it's like, look, I can like someone and disagree with something they say. Like, I can agree with a lot of things. Like, you're never going to agree with someone on everything.
Yeah.
Like, we disagree on things, like the death penalty.
Because, even, like, with... I'm willing to be... You could be a straight-up baby murderer, and I can be friends with you as long as you don't murder me or murder my babies.
Yeah. I'm getting a phone call. Should we call it there for the shit show?
If you want.
I mean, because we're live, I can take
keep going.
Yeah, you want to keep rambling on? I'm gonna take this in the other room.
Okay.
Just keep talking.
Hello?
Okay, yeah. Like I said, we'll probably wrap it up here in a bit. Okay, bye.
I didn't say anything.
Did you really not?
No, I couldn't think of anything to say.
You son of a bitch! I have to edit out all that dead air now. See, this is what happens on the shit show when it's not live, is there'll be parts where we don't talk, or I'll get a phone call, and then... But you get it all live here, but I'm going to edit it down in the actual final version when we re-upload it. Like, I'm going to leave this stream up, and I'm also going to do a recut, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we are running out of things to say, so I do think we should wrap it up here in a little bit.
What's more controversial right-wing opinions you have?
More controversial, like they're not right-wing things, or they are controversial because they're right-wing?
Controversial because they're right-wing.
Well, I'm very traditionalist when it comes to gender roles. I think that women do typically I think that men and women have specific roles in relationship, and I think that we should fulfill the ideal relationship fulfills those roles. Now, I don't have a lot of faith for relationships in general because I'm very cynical and jaded when it comes to that.
I'm a believer in human nature, and I think the farther we stray from our human nature, the less happy we'll be.
I agree. Like, I think we're kind of like that. Kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying. You know, like traditional gender roles are part of human nature.
Yeah.
As are like just traditional family roles in general. I think parents should be authoritarian to their children. I do. Like, that's the one case where I think it's important. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do think there's a limit. Like, I think
kids should be allowed to have secrets, though.
Absolutely.
Not with teachers.
No, of course not with teachers. But I do think it is natural for kids to keep things from their parents, but I also do think that the parents should be there to guide and lead the kid and not to try and be their buddy. You can be their buddy when they're grown up. Like, you can have you can be a friend of your kid when they're grown up, not when they're a kid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that said, I'm not saying be like horrible to your kids. Like, obviously treat your kids well, but just make sure you're the one guiding them so that they know how to get through life.
The way I see it is tough times make tough people.
Yeah. Hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men make hard times, which make strong men, which it's a cycle.
Yeah. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. Let's see. Other than my traditionalist on gender roles and human nature to an extent, I would say another. Let's see. What's another controversial right wing thing? Like, to be honest, I don't think being pro life is that controversial anymore. I think a lot of people are turning against abortion, which I think is great.
I'm like completely capitalist, like against taxes, and against even healthcare.
I agree, Corbin. Like, socialized healthcare, fuck that. I think it's wrong. Because it is immoral, and it actually doesn't make the quality... Like, socialized healthcare lowers the quality of healthcare. Healthcare is not a human right, because it is impossible for a right to entitle you to someone else's labor.
Yeah, like, I like the way Yarnbrook says it. Where Yarnbrook, he says that, like it's just objectively wrong to force someone to give you their money. That's just an objective evil. That's theft. There's no other way of looking at it.
Yeah.
That is theft. If you take my money, you are a thief.
Yeah. And also, like, taxation is theft, Corbin. I agree 100%. So
that's something that's so stupid about the left, is that they used to speak that like they were the sign, like they were like they act like they're scientific when they go against like things that are objectively true, like men being men, women being women, and they go against the objective truth that taxes are theft. Like, they don't even call taxes theft. Like, what else could it be? It's taking money from someone. It's objectively theft. There's no other way of looking at it.
yeah.
Or saying that a baby, like saying that a late-term baby is still a fetus. Or they say, like, it's literally, they just completely go against objective reality and say that they're the scientific ones.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is like, obviously, I think we would both agree that life begins at conception, right? Like, there's no other consent, like, there's no other way it makes sense.
Yeah, but I also think, like, you can't explain that to people.
Well, you can.
Like, I don't think that's good. I feel like, yeah.
Look, Corbin.
But like, if it has a heartbeat, that's when it's objectively alive.
Well, no, but it already is alive long before that.
It is?
Yes.
Like, how does...
So, first off, it's already developing, therefore it's alive. A sperm is alive. When it becomes human is when it fertilizes and becomes a new set of DNA. When a new person is created. When the egg and sperm combine to form a completely new set of DNA. That is a new person.
Yeah, I guess that's a good argument in itself.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm like, you can explain it. It makes sense.
Yeah, I never thought of it like when people, you never hear even anybody explain it in like a scientific way. Like, it's either like somebody saying like because God, or somebody saying because this is when it becomes human. Like, there's like not a lot of people that are in like the middle ground.
Corbin, have you watched Crowder's Change My Mind on Abortion?
Yeah.
Because he made that exact same argument I did, so you've heard it before, you just don't remember.
Yeah, but it's like, I understand his argument of like it's a cell that has like all these things.
No, but like he even says, it's when a new set of DNA is created that becomes a new person. Because at that point, it has already been decided that they are like, it's a completely new set of DNA. It's not the mother's DNA, it's not the father's DNA, it is new DNA. Not to mention the fact that early on, it is already determined what your hair color will be, what your eye color will be, your sex, all that. That's all determined very early on. And it's like, it's already growing into a person. What else is it going to turn into? You know what I mean? It's not going to become a squirrel. It might become a lobster if you're that one girl. But otherwise...
Yeah, it's just not like... Steven Crowder's like the only person I've ever heard with that take.
It's a good take, though.
So it's hard to like... I mean, yeah.
And he's not the only one I've heard had it. He's just the first example I can think of. I can't think of any others right off. I know I've heard it from other places on the right. See, the thing is the problem that a lot of...
Shapiro has good arguments for it, too.
Yeah, and so does Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh's book,
because,
The Unholy...
Because, like, I remember, like, a lot of conservatives say potential life, too, I've heard.
I've never heard an actual conservative call it potential life. Everyone I've ever heard talk about it acknowledges it's a new right. Or every, like, actual conservative that's pro-life acknowledges it's a new life as soon as it's fertilized.
Or, I mean, like, when they're, like, explaining Never mind. I don't know.
I think sometimes when talking to leftists, you have to dumb things down and, like, maybe switch your terms sometimes so they can understand it.
Yeah.
But, and, like, again, I do think it is a problem when the only argument they have is religion. That's why I never use religion as an argument. First off, because I'm not very religious. And second off, because it's not effective.
Yeah. I think,
But yeah, there you go. There's another controversial take, I guess, that life begins. Again, I don't think this is that controversial. I think people are turning on abortion culturally. I think it's beginning to shift.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. Because abortion is one of the most evil things you can do, because you're cheating someone out of a chance at living a life. Like, they're already alive. They're already alive. But they're not...
The only reason I'm hesitant is because it's hard for me to really, like, say, like... Because I'm a believer in choice, right?
Okay.
And not choice to kill a baby. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying choice to kill. I'm saying, like, if a woman doesn't choose to have a baby, doesn't choose to have sex, and is raped, that wasn't her choice. And it's one of those things where it's like, if I didn't choose this, is it still my responsibility if it wasn't my choice?
Yes, it is. Because first off, abortion isn't just taking it out, it's violently killing it and taking it out. So, is it okay to kill your son because his father raped you?
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's hard though, because it's like...
I can understand... Look, I can understand the emotional argument there, but it's not a logical one. It is purely an emotional argument, because it is simply...
I would say... But what I mean is, like, is it my responsibility to save somebody's life?
But it's not just saving them, it is actively killing them. That is how abortion works.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Because it's... Yeah. So that would make it murder, that's right.
Yeah. And at that point, if the mother does give birth, is she still obligated to feed it and take care of it? Yes. So what's different when it's inside of her?
Yeah. Just it's a hard topic.
No, it is. But I'm pretty absolutist on it, so my opinions are very fleshed out, because I know exactly what I think on it.
The one where it disgusts me though is when it comes to, like, when they defend late-term abortion. That disgusts me.
Well, abortion in general disgusts me, but especially, like, late-term abortion, you can't even argue.
I can that's what I'm saying, is that with early on abortion, at least I can understand that. Like, I can understand the view. I understand why they don't think of it as a life. But I get why they think that.
The problem is, though, Corbin, when people bring up that argument, and then you go and say, okay, I have this chart, where does life begin? They don't have an answer. So people just use that as an excuse and don't actually believe it most of the time.
Yeah.
And the same is true with rape, because you know that the case of rape abortions, like, are actually one of the lowest percentage of abortions that is carried out.
Yeah.
Abortions because of rape, it's like less than 1%.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that when it does, like, I don't want to be one of those people that it's just, I don't want to be, like, completely, I don't want to, because that's one of the, I don't know. It's just a bad situation to have forced onto you.
Of course, it's a bad situation, but is it not traumatizing to have something killed inside of you and sucked out?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Like, again, look, the rape argument I can understand from an emotional level, but two wrongs don't make a right. And to try and say that it's okay to kill your child because the father raped you makes no sense. Because apply that at any other age and no one's going to argue it. And, Corbin, I'm going to say this, and don't take this the wrong way, but I do feel like you've kind of gone back and forth on this a few times, because you were on my side of this argument when we were talking to my friend Rem on the other shit show.
Yeah, it's just hard, because it's hard for me to, like, think of it, because it's hard. I mean, like, I can't get pregnant, so I can't think of.
You can still have an opinion of it. You can still understand how it works.
I can have an opinion. I'm just saying that I literally can't empathize. That like I can't actually like I can't like.
I can process it pretty easily. I understand the concept. I know the toll it's going to take on your body, but that still doesn't give you the right to kill someone else.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. I don't know, I just,
Believe me, Corbin, I understand what you're saying. I just think that it's splitting hairs, and I think it makes sense as a trying to find a middle ground argument, but I also just don't think there can be any middle ground when it comes to killing babies. And like I said, my friend, he does believe, if it's rape, then that's okay. And like I can understand that as a fair argument. I understand where he's coming from on that. But at the same time, just because someone did something bad to you doesn't mean you can kill someone else.
Yeah, like I do believe they'd be happier if they had the baby. It's just like I don't want to be somebody that forces that.
Well, you're not the one forcing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just saying like that.
Look,
yeah.
And I get it. Something bad happened. Yes. But again, can I kill someone else because of it who's completely innocent and has done literally nothing to cause it? No.
Well, I just mean like they didn't choose to have to go through the pain of childbirth.
Sure. But just because
I don't know if should I go through a lot of pain for something I didn't choose in the first place?
Well, what's better, you going through pain or you becoming a literal murderer?
Somebody put a gun to my head, and I had a gun in my hand, and he said, "Kill somebody else."
Okay, but that's a different argument. That's literally life or death. That's you or them. That's different.
Oh, okay.
Because that's literally you will die otherwise. Like a gun to your head. That's
good. Okay. So they have the gun pointed to my kneecap. And they say shoot somebody else in the head.
What if that somebody else is your kid?
I actually wouldn't do it if it wasn't my kid. I would just get shot in the kneecap.
Good. So then your own argument falls apart there.
That actually does make a good point. Yeah. So I guess there is no real argument.
No, there's really not. The AVGN does still try to make references to modern things like the 3DO Interactive episode in which he mentions PlayStation 5, or in the Shrek episode when he mentions streaming service peak. I go, yeah, for sure, he does.
And then the whole argument of the baby being dead just doesn't even matter.
That's not an abortion.
An abortion, and literally nobody's against that.
Yeah.
Literally nobody's against getting a dead baby removed from you.
And like when people bring up if the woman's life is in danger. Do you know what? No one's against that either, because that wouldn't be an abortion as long as you try to save the baby while removing it.
Yeah.
Because like people try to make the argument, the mother's life is in danger, but it's like, but it wouldn't be an abortion if they're just removing it and they try their best to save it. It's only an abortion if they kill it, by definition.
It should be a punishable. Do you think it should be punishable do you think women who do drugs or even smoke when pregnant should be punished?
That is tough. That is very tough.
Because I actually do think that women shouldn't be allowed to smoke if they're pregnant.
You know what? Yeah, if I want to be logically consistent, I'd have to agree.
Because
they can smoke all they want after the baby's born. But
yeah.
But while they're pregnant, they are literally doing harm to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree.
Also, it's like doing significant harm to it does significant harm for something just so you can feel that slight convenience.
Yeah.
Or that slight bit of happiness for like a momentary
Like it's like not even worth it.
It's true.
And isn't there like a pill that women take that literally like obliterates the baby inside them?
Yeah, that's called a I don't know what the like official name of it is, but it's like the day after pill or morning after pill. Yeah, I'd still consider that abortion and murder.
Yeah.
Like, the difference between contraception and that is contraception prevents fertilization. If it's not fertilized, it's still just your DNA. It's not another person. It does not create a whole new set of like a whole new person, you know?
Mm-hmm. Really, it should just be simplified to, if it's human and you kill it, that's murder.
Yeah, and that is what
if it's human at conception.
Yeah, and it is. It is absolutely human at conception because it forms a new set of human DNA that is not neither the mother nor the father.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we went on with that. That was a good.
With all this, I'm filled with a lot of gobbledygook.
Yeah.
From like the past.
I know. That's why I gotta remind you constantly that you're a logical person now, Corbin. So you don't revert to old programming.
It's just it's hard with the stance with what they think of people that have these stances.
Yeah, but you gotta not care about that.
Promoted, because it's literally like I literally can't like. I literally like I don't believe in God. I literally can't believe in God, but it's still like you know how you get like it still feels like you still have like the memory of believing in it. So it's like every once in a while you still like.
No, I get it. Like I said, reverting to old programming.
Like I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, explain it by reverting to old programming. It's the way you used to think, and sometimes that pops back up. I get it, Corbin.
Yeah. But I guess we can't do this for that long.
Well, I mean, we could. I mean, it's just Kyler wants to go get something to eat, and I'm like, yeah, I'll probably wrap up here in a minute, but he said to just let him know when I'm done.
Okay.
I'll also bring up a very good... this is a quote from Moral Oral, and the way it's used in Moral Oral, I disagree with, but I think it's a really good quote. We can't tolerate evil just because it's convenient.
Yeah. I'd say that sums up the left with
abortion.
Where it's literally... Yeah, I'd say it applies to kind of everything.
Yeah, I would agree. Now, I would highly recommend reading Matt Walsh's The Unholy Trinity. He does bring up God a few times, but he does make a lot of good arguments that don't have to do with God. Because, again, that is one problem I do find with the conservative right, is the God thing, but I do think a lot of them are very good at doing... Like Matt Walsh in particular, I think, has some of the best arguments against abortion without even having to bring up God.
That's what I think is what a lot of people don't think about, is they say like, oh, people just believe in this because the Bible says it, and it's like the lessons of the Bible were learned by someone though.
Yeah.
Like someone had to learn those lessons to write them.
Yeah, like, and again, like, you don't, like, the thing is the Bible was part of forming a lot of our moral foundations as a society. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
But the thing is, just because...
And I would say that there were objective morals that were found that are in the Bible.
And they were written in a way that... Like, here's the thing. You can look at it as either literal or metaphorical. And there are arguments to be made for both. I do think that absolutely some of the writers of the Bible were literal, but there is certainly a possibility there was some metaphor used. I mean, as you know, I don't consider myself an atheist, but I'm not like ultra religious, and I don't necessarily believe in organized religion, or I don't necessarily believe.
I wouldn't say I'm an atheist because I don't think because I mean like what I've because I think atheism is like saying like there's no God, right? Like there's just definitely no God.
I mean, that's the way I would define it. Some atheists say that atheists just don't believe in God. Whether or not they believe he doesn't exist is a different argument. So it depends on how you define it.
Because I can believe in like a God, but I don't know how to explain like what a God is.
Okay.
Because it's like is a God just the creator of everything? Does it have to have like some sort of resemblance of a human? Does it have to?
Well, no, none of those things are
just
necessarily
nature?
like, again, with God, the definition is different depending on which religion you're going on.
Yeah.
And again, you can believe in the concept of a God without having to believe in a religion too.
Yeah.
And yes, that thing I mentioned earlier about a woman getting fucked by a man without a condom can be a pregnant thing. What? Did you mention that earlier, Andy? Oh, okay. No, that's what he's getting at. Okay, to anyone who argues that I suck, which again, I don't know what you're talking about there. But okay.
But where was I?
God?
Yeah. For me though, I can believe in God, but I don't understand the concept of afterlife.
Well, that's fine. You can believe in one without the other. And again, like for me, I personally, I think there probably is an afterlife. But again, that has nothing to do with what my thoughts on like the nature of reality are. Because for me, I don't know for sure if there is. I just kind of hope there is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a difference on how we view.
One of those things.
Go ahead.
For me, like if I can't like, I don't know if I can't even like argue it in my head.
Well, and that's fine. Because, again, I don't think that's relevant to how we solve real-world problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The way I see it, though, is that I feel like, in a way, it's better to... I personally think, this is just personally me, I personally think it's better to plan that there's no afterlife.
Sure. I agree, because you want
to live your life as if there is no afterlife.
Well, yeah, I would agree. Don't waste your life, because you don't know that you're getting another one anyway.
Yeah.
Because as far as we know for a fact, this is it.
And then I feel like believing in something because it's comforting doesn't actually do me a lot of good.
I agree. Look, like for me, I don't know how to explain it. For me, like that's why I don't really know how to define my whole belief system. But again, I'm not religious, and I'm not an atheist per se either. I just I think I'm open to those ideas. But I do certainly agree that
I feel like I actually feel like I'm one of the. I actually feel like I'm open-minded. Like leftists always say that they're open-minded, but they're like the most intolerant people ever.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm actually an open-minded person.
Yeah.
Because I've been willing to like admit I'm wrong. I mean I'm always willing to admit I'm wrong if I hear something that makes sense. Like that's all I need is to hear something that makes sense.
Yeah, of course, same. Like I think if you don't admit you're wrong, then you're never going to be right. You're just going to think you're right and never like if you're not willing to admit you're wrong, you'll never know when you're actually right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And lately, like it comes to the point where it's like I no longer really care at all people believe me or not, or like
Good.
what I have to say or not. It just doesn't really matter to me anymore because I already have my own view of what is objectively good and what is objectively bad to a certain extent that it just doesn't matter to me anymore.
Good. That's how it should be.
And it's I don't know. It's like it's just one of like with my dad. Like it's one of those things where it's like if he was just like told me that he didn't want to associate with me anymore because he didn't agree with me or whatever, I honestly wouldn't care because the morals come first. Morals before relationships.
Yeah, and that can be tough too.
Or principles before relationships.
Yeah, I'd agree, but like,
I really do.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I really do think it's important to because if you're allowing your relationships to determine your actions, then I think you're not really you. You're just kind of a puppet.
Yeah. And like, look, I think it's good to associate with people you disagree with, but they have to be willing to understand that you disagree.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying about my dad. Is if he chose to that he didn't want to associate with me anymore because he disagreed with me, you know, it wouldn't be really a big. I'd be upset about it, sure, but I wouldn't. I'd get over it pretty easily because it's. What am I gonna do? Like feel bad about it forever?
Yeah, because again, at the end, you wouldn't have made that choice if that were in this hypothetical.
Yeah, like I'm literally willing to be friends with anybody who's willing to be friends with me. I don't care.
Yeah.
I can disagree with you, and if you commit a horrible crime, I can want you to be held accountable. But I'm not gonna. Like if I knew somebody committed a crime, and it was like actually something that I cared about, I would call the police on them, sure. But I mean, like if I'm if I'm willing to be friends with anybody, no matter what moral stance they have, as long as they're nice to me.
Yeah.
Specifically, cause I don't see the point in having more enemies than I need. I don't see the point in making nothing but enemies.
Yeah. No. It's not a good idea.
Because I want people to understand where I'm coming from. If anything, I don't want people to think of me as the enemy.
Yeah.
I
mean, unfortunately, there will always be people who think of you as the enemy because they're nothing but ideologues.
Mm-hmm. But it's if anything, I want to genuinely show people a better way of life.
Yeah. Well, and the reason you bother having these conversations with people...
But it is fun to make fun of stupid people, too, though.
Yes, that is also very true. My name's not Letty. It's Courtney. I'm glad we put that in that.
It's not lady. I thought that was... It doesn't make sense. Why was she upset about a video? I just shared a joke video.
I don't know.
She was actually upset about it. I don't know how anybody could be offended by just, like, fake karate moves.
Yeah, no, the reaction was more funny than the video. Like, I loved reading that. Especially when she, like, tried to rat you out and get, like, her stepdad to come do something about it.
He never shows up.
Yeah, of course not, because she's just being stupid.
And then... yeah, I think it's... she kept getting upset. I thought that... I would just refuse to stop calling her lady.
Yeah.
She, I still don't understand. I just don't understand how she ever was bothered by it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Then there was I think with the I have a good functioning brain.
Yeah, you sure do.
I have high functioning
Autism?
I was gonna say retardation, but sure.
Cancel. Stop it. What are you doing? Fucking computer.
What do you think of...
What do I think of what?
What do you think is Phantom Strider's worst take?
His worst take? I mean, a lot of them are kind of the same thing, where he just always has the take that if something is mean-spirited, it's automatically bad. So I guess that as a whole, as a take.
But Big Mouth is good.
Yeah, that's true. He likes that, doesn't he?
Big Mouth is good and South Park is good. Except for when South Park... Except when South Park is too... He gets offended by certain episodes of South Park for some reason.
Yeah, because they're too mean-spirited. Like, he doesn't like Scott Tedderman
It's like,
Must Die.
isn't that like the whole point of being a South Park fan?
Yeah.
It's so weird. How can you be a South Park fan and not like mean-spirited things? And I think it's funny. He's like, F is for family. He's mean-spirited. I don't like it. But Big Mouth.
Yeah. Well, and he likes Drawn
doesn't
Together.
make sense to like Big Mouth.
He likes Drawn Together, and I've been, like, I love Drawn Together. I've been rewatching it.
He likes what better?
He likes Drawn Together.
Yeah, that's super mean-spirited, so I don't even...
And look, I love Drawn Together, because I've been rewatching it, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. But, like, it is not consistent for Phantom Strider to like it.
A lot of the creators are Jews, and that's why a lot of the creators of Drawn Together are, like, Jews, and that's why they have so many anti-Semitic jokes.
Yeah, because they're making fun of themselves.
It's because they're making fun of themselves. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Drawn Together's funny, and I like that it just gets edgier with each season.
I like it. Literally, the point of the movie is making fun of South Park for having a point.
Yeah. I haven't seen the movie. I've heard that the movie's not very good.
I think that's funny. I mean, I wouldn't say it's much worse than the show, like, as, like, a movie.
Yeah.
It literally starts with them stomping puppies to death.
Nice.
As a game. Like, that's like a game. Is stomping puppies to death.
Alright, well, is there anything else you want to say, Corbin, before we wrap it up?
Haven't you heard?
What have I heard?
Well, that the bird. Bird is the word, bird. Bird is the word. Haven't you heard about the word bird something? Peter Griffin. Lime in the coconut. Goodbye.
Family Guy funny joke. Haha. Peter fall down stair. All right, you think that's good enough? Should I end it there?
I like all the really weird, crazy, abstract Peter Griffin memes I've been finding.
Yeah, no, they're pretty good. So is that it for the shit show, you think, or did you want to keep going?
That can be it.
All right, cool. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one. Toodles.
That sucked. I'm sure glad that's over with.
It's gonna be quite a different place with him gone, that's for true.